What's up, everyone? We are back in the shop. Got our Bronco up on the lift. And why? Oh, we got lots of goodies to put on there. Finally got all of our new heavy-duty skid plates in stock, fully ready to go out. And I'm going to show you how these things install on our two-door Badlands here. Going to be replacing the factory bash plates, which are much thinner, really not up to any heavy off-roading, and also do not cover the transmission or the cross-member reinforcing arms there. We've got skid plates for those. We also have a heavier duty T-case skid. We got all the goods over there ready to go on. So let's get started. As many of you probably already know, the steel bash plates were an option. They didn't come on all the Broncos, depending on trim levels. A lot of them came with plastic splash guards. In fact, my Wild Track came with them. This one we got in here is a Badlands. It's actually my mom's Badlands. And she's taking it to Moab in just a few days, which is why I'm kind of prioritizing getting some armor on here so she can go out and have some fun, not worry about tearing up her new ride. But first things first, we got to take off these stock bash plates, and I'm going to show you the difference in just how lightweight and flimsy these stock ones are compared to our new skids, and how little they really cover. I mean, big gaping hole right for where your differential is here. We cover that all up so you can drag this thing on the rocks all day. We're also going to throw on the A-arm skid plates, which we've already shown in another video, as well as our transmission, T-case, and the cross-member brace skids. So I'm going to grab a 15mm socket and start pulling the bolts out of this thing. Now I found with these stock ones, right in the middle where the two skids come together, these are slotted on the end, so all you gotta do is loosen these up. It'll hold the weight of the skid plates while you're taking them off. Not that they really weigh anything since they're made out of tin foil. Loosen those up just a little bit. You can come over here. That's it for the front one. And then the engine skid here, same thing, just two more bolts. And just slide it off. This thing's out of there. And go ahead and pull the two bolts out of here. Get them out of our way. We're actually going to reuse two of these. Now, those of you who have a Badlands and have the electronic sway bar disconnect, you're going to have this other little skid plate here just behind the engine skid that I just took off. If you are going to run the transmission skid, ours replaces this entirely. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out of here. All right, similar deal to the front skids there. They're slotted here, so you can just loosen these two bolts. And take out these rear ones. And then come back, pull those bolts all the way out. Another optional skid plate that this Badlands is equipped with that a lot of the other ones don't come with, including the Wild Track, is the transfer case skid here. Now, if you don't have this, you're going to be missing a couple of nut clips. So these ones in the cross member are threaded, but out here at the frame, they're just holes in the frame, and we provide a couple of clip nuts to go in there. We also provide one that clips into this hole here because we use that one as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing out of here. Now just to show you what I'm talking about on the frame rail here, you can see there's those 2 nut clips on there. If yours did not come equipped with the factory skid plate, those won't be there. We supply some to go there. And then again, this hole here is threaded. Obviously this one is not. We've got another one of those clip nuts that goes in there. Starting at the front here, now that we've got the bash plates out of the way, there's these brackets on either side. If you have the plastic bumper with the plastic splash guard, you're going to have a big like horseshoe shaped toe ring that's welded onto this bracket. We need to pull just the front bolt out of each bracket. So our new mounting bracket for the front of the skid plate is going to use that bolt. Now you grab the black. These are zinc plated black, just like the rest of it, except black instead of clear zinc. I'm just going to slide that up into place. Now we also built another version of our front skid for the plastic bumper, because it's got a bigger notch out of here that goes up. There's a couple of tabs up here that can be bolted into. We also use that skid with our front bumper. This skid can be used with the plastic front bumper as well. That one just mounts a little bit differently. It just uses captured nuts that are already in the frame right behind where this bumper is covering up. This skid that fits all of them uses these brackets that bolt on here. For right now, we're just going to put them on loosely so that we've got some movement in there. Get everything adjusted right. Next up, as we work our way backwards, this is the forward control arm cross member. There's the 2 threaded holes here. This one was used by the factory bash plate. And then there's a threaded hole in the front differential bracket here. Now what we've got is we got this bracket that adds on. It brings everything up to the same level as that control arm bracket there, or the differential bracket. So we're going to reuse 2 of the stock bolts from the front skid. Get this in place. This gives us a nice row of attachment points that are all in line with each other. So we're going to get it. You'll notice the notch there lines up with the hole in the frame. Before I go any farther, I just want to talk about the difference between the stock bash plates and our new skid plates. Biggest thing is the thickness. I just measured the stock one. It's less than half the thickness of ours. Ours are 3/16 steel plate all the way throughout. The stock one here, not even an eighth. I mean, this stuff is just tin foil. This is not built for real trails. Also notice we weld in that bucket that goes around underneath your differential. This just leaves it hanging open. It's like the one thing, the lowest point on there, and they just put a big hole. All right, this next step is a little tricky when you're single-handed like I am. It's definitely a lot easier if you got somebody helping you, but I never seem to have anybody around to help me when I'm making these videos. Anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to get this front skid up, and we're just going to get one of the rear bolts into that bracket just to kind of hang it there, hold it in place. Alright, so that's going to be one of your longer bolts. And then there are going to be 4 short bolts with nuts that go through the front here and into those black frame brackets. So we're just going to get one on each side for now, just to hold this thing up and in place. And there is just enough room to get your hand or a wrench back in here to tighten these guys up. I'm going to get our other 2 bolts in back here, again just loosely putting them in, and these bolts are actually going to come back out one more time, because these also are used to hold the engine skid plate, but we're going to put them in for right now to hold this thing up here so we can get everything aligned and get these front bolts all nailed down. I'll get my other 2 nuts and bolts here. Alright, so now we've got everything kind of loosely fit. Kind of wiggle it around, get the skid plate where it wants to be. Make sure everything's nice and centered up. There's some forward and back movement on these side brackets here to get everything in there. Same, there's slots in these holes there. We're just gonna kind of get this all in place, and then we're gonna tighten up all the stuff in front. I'm going to start frame here because I feel like I got this thing pretty much where I want it. I'm going to come in here on the sides with my wrench. Now, it's going to seem a little bit counterintuitive. We're going to pull these bolts back out of here. And I'm going to raise this thing up a little bit, and we're going to put our engine skid on. So now we're going to bring this guy up in here. And you'll see these 3 slots here line up with the 3 forward slots in our engine skid, and then it's got all the holes that go across the cross member. So all you Badlands owners, talked about this skid plate for the sway bar disconnect earlier, and just wanted to show how this thing can fit together. You basically just sandwich our skid right on top of the factory skid. Now you see the little recess in there, that's for our skid, and I'm going to show you how to put that on right now. That'll cover up the entire transmission as well. But just so you can see it, and then up above there, you'll want, on the outside 2 bolts, you want to slip a couple washers in there just to make up for the thickness of that skid plate on the outer 2 bolts. Moving towards the back, we're going to install the transfer case skid plate now. It goes on actually before the transmission skid. And again, I mentioned this hole here that doesn't have a nut clip, and the ones on the frame. In this case, this vehicle does have them, but not everyone will, so we supply them. It just slides into the square hole and then snaps back into place. So now you got a spot for your bolt. So start off with, pretty simple. This comes up here, just like everything else. Start loose, a couple bolts in to hold everything up, and we'll adjust it and tighten it up in a minute. Alright, for right now, I'm not going to put these two bolts in because those get used by the transmission skid as well. I will go ahead and tighten these up on the frame. Now it's time to get our transmission skid in here, and you'll see that it overlaps on top of both the engine skid and the transfer case skid plate there. So again, just going to get a couple bolts in just to hang it up there and hold the weight while I finish getting in position. And just in case you're wondering, this transmission skid plate can be used with the factory bash plates. It sneaks in right where that factory sway bar skid plate went in. It uses those same mounting locations, and so yeah, you can run this skid plate all on its own if you want to keep the factory front ones. You can also use the transmission skid plate, or sorry, the transfer case skid plate here. So if you want to, you can piece it together. We sell all of them separately, or we're also going to be selling them as a full set. These are the diagonal cross-member braces that we're going to be putting the skids on next. Step one is pretty simple. Just pull the stock bolts out. There's a 15 millimeter on the bolt side and a 18 for the nut. Grab our new skid. Now this bracket here that wraps around the entire stock bracket, they are designed to be a snug fit. This whole thing is designed to fit as tight as we can. So you may have to do a little wiggling and shoving and things to get everything all the way up in there. Alright, now since we've got the transmission skid plate in there, it's a little bit hard to get the bolt in from the front, so we're just going to go in from the back. And it just slides above the cross member brace. And then we put the nut on the other side. Now this bolt here, 3/8 bolt, uses 9/16 wrenches. And this one, you don't have to go crazy tight. You just want to squeeze the two sides of the bracket around the beam of the crossmember brace to hold everything tight. All right, that's it. We got one side done, one more to go. We'll be all done. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. Be sure to check out stinkyfab.com to see all the new and exciting stuff we got coming out. We got a lot of new products coming out these days, and hope to see you all on the trail soon.